all we got is one shot to get this video correct because I am trying to get my upload challenge to be pretty good. Upload challenge basically is going to be, for me at least, really it's a recording challenge more than an upload challenge, but hey, hear me out. I am going to record at least one video talking about each playoff game that I watched. If I don't watch a playoff game, that would suck, but I'm going to try and watch all of them. Last night I watched Knicks Pistons game 2, and last night I also watched the following game, Nuggets and Clippers. So I'm can be honest, going into the game, I did not know that either of the team that I was rooting for to pull through in this series won each game. To be completely honest, I thought that after the Clippers did and lost how they did in the first game, that like it would take a miracle for them to be even close like that. I was thinking that Kawhi's gonna have to stop turning the ball over nearly as much. But if the Nuggets play like how they did, and if I would get better production from Michael Porter Jr., who just according to like coaching staff, he just wasn't in the game mentally, which is why he got pulled, and just we didn't see the rest of him for like most of the fourth quarter, or any of the third, to be honest. At least I didn't see him then. I completely did not expect him to even come back to the series. I thought he was just like so worried about being traded in the offseason that he just couldn't play basketball correctly or something. I don't know. That was the bail I was going to give him. They probably voiced that, if this shit doesn't go well, we're going to trade you or something. I don't know. Maybe the new front office was getting to his head, but he played pretty well in the second game. I should pull up his numbers just to be sure, though. I'm from the eye test, I think he played very well, but the numbers could say something else, right? But going into the game, I'm like, well, Russ is not going to perform as well as he did in the first game and be as clutch. Nah, probably not. Russ still, and I know it's like the scrutiny of like, oh, it's the playoffs, he's probably not going to be able to do that and replicate that more. No, Russ did what he was supposed to last night as far as 3-point shooting in the like wide open corners. They were daring Russ to shoot, and Russ was shooting them, and normally that's like a bad thing because, you know, Russ can't shoot. But apparently, them open corner threes, the ones that he's supposed to be taking, is the ones that he's making. And then the break threes, he's cut those out of his diet as much as I guess Russ can. I would like to see him take none of those shots, but I can't force Russ to be PJ Tucker, apparently. No, let Russ be Russ, I guess. Let me talk about the first game, though. The first game happened between the Pistons and the Knicks, and I'm going to be completely honest. The officiating in that game was all over the place. That's my biggest gripe about the game, to be completely honest. The Pistons, I'm similar to what I thought about the Nuggets. Not the Nuggets, the Clippers. I thought that they're just not going to have it. They're not going to have enough to do it again. Knicks versus Pistons. Let me pull up that box score for game 2. It's kind of surprising. Now, Cade was amazing, and the looks that he was getting in the first game, he got way better looks this game. Obviously, they were double teaming him a lot in the first game, and they kind of read single coverage, and they had OG Anunoby as his primary defender. He seemed bothered by that matchup. So the alternative for that was getting a switch. The others did not show up as much as they could have in this game. But again, I think that's just because they were being more honest on them. They were like, okay, well, Tobias is not going to kill me like he did last game. And Tobias played well. Normally you're not going to hear me tell you Tobias played well because it's Tobias Harris in the playoffs. I think we should all know what I'm talking about. Philly fans know what I'm talking about. Not that you know anything about the playoffs this year, so... Yeah, but the Pistons have won their first game in the playoffs in God knows how long. It's actually been 15 years. For reference, I'm 21. I am now legal age of drinking, and I'll be 22 later in August. The Pistons have not won a game, keep this in mind, since I was 7. I was 7 the last time the Pistons won a game in the playoffs. Is that not insane to anyone? Actually, 15. Ooh, math. No, sorry, my guys. I was 6. Which, not that big of a difference, to be quite honest. Where was I when I was 6 in April? Let's see. Probably coming off of probably, and by probably I mean definitely coming off of spring break, and I would have been like 6, so I would have been in what, first grade now. Yeah, it's been a while. Needless to say, that is actually insane that it took them this long to do this. They're finally good. They're really good, and I saw a list of talking about them and their like historic turnarounds and stuff. Really like going into detail with that, and I just honestly, it doesn't explain how much better they are this year. A lot of the other teams on the list had like the Spurs when they drafted Robinson and when they drafted Duncan. And mind you, Robinson was hurt the year before they drafted Duncan. That's how they got that number 1 pick in the first place. And those two were healthy again, so that turnaround was going to be amazing. The Suns when they first got Steve Nash, complete game changer with Mike D'Antoni and the 7 seconds or less offense that they ran with Steve Nash. It was like the Celtics right before they drafted Bird. That was an amazing turnaround that was on that list. And then like you get down from these things where like historic players are added to the rosters. Not just coaching, by the way. Bad coaching was there. But historic players and great coaching. And then you get to the bottom of the list and you're like, well, some of the greatest turnarounds in NBA history, and you're seeing the Pistons, right? And you're like, how are the Pistons on this list? Well, I'll tell you what. It's not because of just Cade coming back. Cade coming back is a big part of this. And it's not just because of the development of Cade. It's because they added veterans to this roster that they desperately needed to add. Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, who they got in this trade deadline. These are like major moves that they made for this team to work, and it's coming together beautifully, honestly. Honestly, I think they should have won the first game. That 20-0 run is based off of how game 2 went. That 20-0 run is looking like it's looking dun 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 dun. Looking Mickey, MICKEY, MOUSE. Yeah, no, these guys have been let's talk about the Knicks and like who really underperformed for them, because I'm not gonna lie, it is worse than you think it is, trust me. Let me just put this out of the way. Cat looked terrible last night. It was insanely bad. And this is without Isaiah Stewart playing. I think if Isaiah Stewart played, it would have been even worse. I think there was when I was talking about the officiating earlier, there were 2 really BS bullshit calls on Ausar Thompson when he was guarding Jalen Brunson that honestly, they almost ruined the game for me. Because if the Knicks won after that shit, I would have been fucking upset. I was upset. It was ridiculous. Like, it was so obvious and blatant ones. Ausar had to beg the coaching staff, and JB Bickerstaff is a good coach, don't get it twisted, and you're supposed to look at your coaching staff, beg them to challenge it. So look, they challenge, and this is what he has 4 fouls on him already. This is 5th. He gets his arm hooked by Jalen Brunson, right? His arm is hooked by Jalen Brunson. Brunson proceeds to thrash around because he's got you hooked. He's like, oh, I've got you in jail now. I'm hooking you. And before we say that's on Brunson, that's not a good look, that's not fair, that's not the issue here. The officiating is the issue. I have no qualms with a player doing something like this to draw free throws. It is admittedly annoying when it's happening against a team you're rooting for. But you can't be mad at the player for exploiting the rules. You have to be mad at the officiating of the refs for not calling the correct call or making the call that's more entertaining. And then if if that call isn't entertaining, right, it cheats the game for you, right? It makes you feel it's a negative thing, and there's a negative response you get from like the fans as a large whole, right? Then that is up to the NBA and especially their commissioner to make that rule change, whereas though it doesn't benefit the offensive player to do this. I think this is an unnatural basketball play, in my opinion. And then his last foul, which was really egregious. Brunson bumps Thompson in the chest. Thompson flies back a little bit. Brunson bumped him. Brunson sees that he's shifting and falls backwards. Right? Now, Brunson is, let's be honest, he's built like a hamster, as my brother would say. He's built like a hamster. He's not that big. He's a pretty strong guy, all things considered, for an NBA guy. he's not that tall in comparison to a lot of these NBA guys. The contact is going to look like, even if he initiates a contact and a strong body meets him, it's going to look like you fouled him. Now, I think the officiating, again, like I said, he was getting star calls. Star was getting hoed. I'm going to be completely honest, he got hoed. Let's talk about some other negative things real quick, and then we can get back. We can swoop all the way around the cat. Since they didn't have Isaiah Stewart, they had to play Paul Reed, which was his energy was good, but like him as a basketball player is clearly not supposed to be in a playoff rotation, and it showed. He was all right in certain stretches, but like terrible in other stretches, and obviously he's not supposed to be there. Malik Beasley had a terrible 3-point shooting percentage this game, and I was like worried about him. And these were good looks, to be quite honest. So I think he'll knock them down given the opportunity to do it again. But these were good looks that he were just missing. Jalen Duren played really well for me, in my opinion, and for this to be his second playoff game, he had a double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. The fouls, he got... I can't remember if he was like doing really badly when it came to fouls, but like, I mean, you're gonna get those if Jalen Brunson is going at you the way he was going at you last night. And I don't want to lie to you guys. Brunson played well. He didn't play badly. That's not why they lost the game. Brunson was great. He had 37 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds, and the splits are pretty good. I can't see them right now because, you know, the Google doesn't want to give me the fucking splits. It'll just give me this. I would prefer if it showed me their percentage numbers too, so I can back up my claims, but I guess it doesn't want to do that. Box scores. I guess I can. I'll go to NBA.com and pull that up. I'm not gonna edit it out of the video, obviously, because I don't do editing. NBA box scores. Now let's go to the NBA's website. Games, all matchups. Thank you. By the way, the games today are gonna be Indiana and Milwaukee, which I'm going to be completely honest, I will be tuning into that game, but I'll be tuning into that game, but let's be honest, it is not the most important game that happened today. Thunder are going to play Grizzlies today, and then the game that'll cap off the night will be Timberwolves Lakers. So I will be watching all 3 of those games. Unfortunately, the Indiana game is happening at the same time, or a similar time as the Thunder game, but it is not nearly as important. So I'm going to be completely honest. I will be leaning towards whichever game is more entertaining. I, quite frankly, do not believe in the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going to be honest. Yesterday, I'm going to go back into the day before. Today is 22nd. Let me go over to Monday. Those games are box score. Sorry it took me so long to get the box score up, guys. It is what it is, you know. Some about being professional. It's not easy. This is the next side. All right, so let me tell you about those numbers. Jalen Brunson had the free throw discrepancy was different, but that's because they weren't driving as much. I'm gonna be completely honest. The only person who puts rim pressure on this team, despite being of his size, is really Jalen Brunson. And Josh Hart was pretty passive this game. He only took 6 shots, which I mean, look. I don't think that he should be taking a whole lot of shots, and he did get to the free throw line immediately, the second most on the team, because no one else besides O2 and OG Anunoby with 1 free throw trip shot that many free throws. I'm going to be completely honest. Anunoby missed all of his threes, apparently. I don't remember that. He shot 4 threes, and he missed all of them. He shot 4 for 10, 40%, not really good, but their volume was low. They weren't getting second chance opportunities because the Pistons rebounding was just so good. And a big burden of that falls on Karl-Anthony Towns, who only had, and I just want to enforce this real quickly, he only had 10 points. There's a lot of guys on this team who had 10 points. OG Anunoby had 10 points. Josh Hart had 10 points. But he was 5 or 6 on the free throw line, and also was getting fouled and looked like he was getting banged up. I mean, this is the playoffs though, so it is what it is. But yeah, no, that can't happen. That cannot happen in a playoff series. That cannot happen. You cannot have that happen if you want to win this game. Mikal Bridges had 19 points. Honestly, not enough. His 3-point percentage, he should not have... First of all, he's taking 11 threes. And I know why he's taking 11 threes. Because Cat refused to take them today for some reason. And he just looked terrible. 3 for 11 is not good. Now, inside the arc... Okay, I guess. Inside the arc, he was pretty good. His mid-range attempts and shots looked good to me. I could pull those numbers up, but those are way too nerdy, and you probably don't care about those, so I'm not gonna pull those up. Campaign off the bench was fine. He didn't play a lot of minutes. Oh no, wait, Campaign was bad. Campaign got 3 fouls in the first quarter, and that completely eliminated their third guard. Because remember, this team is not deep. It's a Knicks team, and it's got Tibbs. Tibbs is already not going to play his bench players that much anyway. So if you're not getting good production from them, he's just going to pull them immediately. Mitchell Robinson was okay offensively for his offensive rebounding, but he didn't play a lot, and that's... I don't know why they were trying to run small ball against Detroit. Detroit small ball was killing them. It was insane. Yeah, let's talk about the good things, though. Yeah, because I feel like I've already talked negatively enough about Cat. I feel like that's enough. 5'11", again, needs to be taking more shots than that. His passivity in this game was pretty bad. He also didn't draw any free throws. All right, Detroit. Talk about the team that actually won the game. So Schroeder was very good for them. He had 20 points last night, 6 to 10 shooting. He hit 3 out of his 5 threes, which these were really big and important threes. I'm not just saying, like, sometimes the stats are going to tell you things and you're going to be like, well, this looks like a pretty good game. No, these were clutch. These were clutch threes in the clutch. These were very important. Tim Hardaway Jr. did not have any of his shots going. He only took 8. But for a role player, if you have none of those shots going in, that's going to be bad. Their guard play outside of Cade and really just Dennis Schroeder was bad, like really bad. It makes me wonder if Fontecchio will get a chance to play in the playoffs. It really does make me wonder that. Star Thompson, I would say he had a bad game, but like again, I think the officiating is the reason he had a bad game. He was not really allowed to be in the game for that long because he was in foul trouble so badly, and 2 of those fouls were really bad, and one of them was like, It was a ticky-tacky foul. I didn't think they should have called it, but it was called. You live with that, right? I got to wrap this recording up because the games are actually about to start, and I should have recorded this way earlier. And I'm not going to stitch together 2 films. You're just going to get 1 video. That is what it is. As far as, I got 9 minutes. I can kill that. All right, let's talk about the other game last night because, yeah, there was another game last night, guys. I know you're so surprised. Definitely didn't tell you that earlier. So, Kawhi, right? So Kawhi went ballistic last night. I put my head down. I was watching the game. Don't get it twisted. I put my head down at a certain point in this game. And I looked back up. Because I don't want to lie to you guys. I looked back up. And all of a sudden, Kawhi had made 14 of his 15 shots at that point in time. And the only shot that I saw him miss was a 3. There are a lot of times where I feel like we've excused Kawhi's poor performances. I got on him last game for having 7 turnovers, which was egregious, especially because he's not some massive passer or ball handler. That was terrible. Don't get it twisted. But I have to give credit where credit is due. Kawhi was a monster last night. And they needed every bit of it to just barely beat the Nuggets. So if you're feeling like this is the most entertaining series in the playoffs, you're 100% right. You are 100% right. It is the most entertaining series in the playoffs so far. It's been great. I truly mean it. Kawhi went 15 for 19 last night. He shot 4 of 7 from 3. So the only shots he missed last night were 3s. Those were the only ones he missed. Maybe in one mid-range shot. Took 5 free throws, hit all 5 of them. It cannot, and he only had 1 turnover, which is 1/7 of what he had the other game. That he was brilliant, truly spectacacular. The 3-point shooting from this team was fine, I guess. I'm gonna look over the numbers real quick because it was fine. Since we're talking about officiating in playoff games, and I said something about it earlier. What the was this? Jamal Murray picked up Norman Powell. I mean, physically picked him up off the ground, and it resulted in him shooting a technical free throw. Because a scuffle broke out, because obviously, right, if you pick me up off the fucking ground, and I'm a grown-ass man in the NBA, I'm going to be like, what the fuck, right? You're going to react. You're going to get volatile. He looks over, and it's like, hey, what the heck? They're going at him. He's like pushing him off. I'm like, get off me. Don't touch me. Right? This resulted in Jamal Murray shooting a technical free throw. I swear to God, like, look, I know the NBA doesn't like the Clippers for like the load managing era, which again I don't understand why, because Kawhi they were actually injured. They hated these guys, and they gave him a really difficult schedule this year. So like, I just want to point this out. If they got a better schedule, we might be talking about them as not like the 5th seed, but like as like a top 3 team. And I mean like where the other LA team is right now, we might be talking about them in that discussion. And they might be playing the Timberwolves. It might be a completely different series, but we're talking about what actually happened. Kawhi was amazing last night. James Harden also had a good game last night. Now it's gonna say that like, oh well, you look at the box score, it wasn't as impressive, but really I do just want to put an emphasis on this. James he did 18, 7, and let's see, Jesus Christ, they set it up so poorly on the website. 18, 7, and 3. 3 rounds is pretty low for James, I'm gonna be honest. But he was just potent for them. Like, these passes were really good. The pick and roll he was operating was really good. The turnovers were pretty low. It was a very efficient game from him. Bogdanovic just should not see the floor of this series. He is 0 for 8 as far as shots, and he's also in foul trouble often. He just should not see the floor. I don't know who they would play to replace his minutes, but all 15 of his minutes in this game and whatever he played in the game before, which was probably even less, have been god-awful. Ben Simmons remains to be a passive NBA player who took a one shot, but that's not really that bad considering he only played like 7 minutes. Not really expecting him to take a whole lot of shots, and his passing is still there. The passing is still there. The defense is whatever. Not whatever. His defense is fine. Good to fine. All right, I'll say that. Norman Powell had that bounce back game because again, it's just not the greatest game in the world. Because let's not get it twisted. Bro shot 35% from 3, and he woke up in like the 3rd and 4th quarter. But yeah, that was a much better game from him than we saw in the first game. So it makes me wonder if they can actually beat them. I am not sure. Derrick Jones Jr. played well. I think that was good. Chris Dunn played better than he did in the first game, in my opinion at least. Even though he only had 5 points, because he was less passive and he actually was looking for a shot a lot more. He was not passing out of his shot nearly as much. I think that was a coaching adjustment that they needed to make, and it really shows, and it was brilliant. I think it was great for this team. As far as the Nuggets go, let's finally talk about them. Jesus Christ. Like I said, Michael Porter Jr. actually showed up to work today. 15 points, 50. He took 2 free throws. Probably want to get that higher, but he's not. He's a jump shooter. He's not going to really get contact that often. The turnovers were not good. Last game I said the Clippers had 20 turnovers. The Nuggets went on and said, bet I can do that too, and it did not work. It was not good. DeAndre Jordan making the floor in the playoffs games. That, I know Jokic needs to rest, right? But like, run either one of your forwards that you have in the starting lineup at center instead of this guy. Get him the fuck out of rotation. He should not touch an NBA floor. Yo, you're just gonna have to run small ball, and you're gonna have to accept that. Because this is not okay. Murray had a playoff Jamal Murray game, because I know what you're thinking. 23 points is not that impressive. I just would like to point out, and if you please ignore the turnovers, because I swear I didn't see these when I was watching the game. Yeah, the brother was hitting the clutch shots. He was hitting those shots, man. Now, you do want him to take, ideally want him to take more shots. Oh, Russ had a better game than he did in the first game. Okay, now I was watching the game. I did not notice this. I did not notice it was this much better. His shooting was amazing, actually. He shot 50% from 3 on 6 attempts, which is the most amount of threes I want him to take. His turnovers were still very low, which is pretty good. Russ is not the reason they lost. If you want to point to someone for the reason they lost, you got to point to Jokic. You have to point to Jokic. Because 7 turnovers is unacceptable. I know the type of passer you are. 7 turnovers is not acceptable for you. It might be. It's not fine for anybody. Don't get it twisted. 7 turnovers is excruciatingly bad for him. I'm not gonna lie. Now he still had 26, 11, and 10. He still had a triple-double, but buddy, them 7 turnovers were huge, and they were bad. And he had some frustration fouls that he made, and it was bad. It was not good. Aaron Gordon played fine. His defense was pretty good, as always. If I want to talk about Jamal Murray, I've already talked about you that thing. With this, like, that foul that was like, what the fuck is this? By the way, the Nuggets were just not. They were not hitting on cylinders that they normally hit on. They might go home in the first round. I did say and predict the Clippers to win this series, but they might go home in the first round, and it might be a little bit more embarrassing because remember, these two games have been on the road, and the series is tied 1-1. Both of these series are tied 1-1. But both the games that I've been telling you about, these games have been happening in Denver and in New York. And I don't know if it's going to get much better on the road. Because everybody's not the Boston Celtics where you play okay at home and you just dominate niggas on the road. Everybody is not them. And it's about to show. So, buckle up, everybody. The playoffs are about to get real. If you think they were good now, they're about to get even more real. So, yeah. That's about as much as I have to say for this. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't like the video, what did I do wrong? Tell me in the comment section. Goodbye.